The film begins with a poor girl from the suburbs named Soo Yoonjin, a beautiful, quiet and polite girl. This year, she graduated from junior high school to enroll in a privileged secondary school to complete her studies. Her parents had been saving money for a long time so that she could attend her favorite school, even though they were suffering from bankruptcy. On her first day at school, she seemed different from the rest of the students, as she was very simple and somewhat confused. She saw a student driving his motorcycle at breakneck speed. The wheels stepped on a patch of water and accidentally splashed Soo Yoonjin. The young man is called Chang Jung, and he comes from a wealthy family and is considered a symbol of his classmates at school. She scolded him angrily, and the moment she cooled down, she would have been hit by a baseball had it not been for the intervention of Chang, who caught the ball with his hand. Instead of apologizing to Yoonjin for smearing her with water, he tells her to be careful when she walks again. Her discontent continued until it became clear that they were studying in the same class and she was sitting exactly in front of his seat. Yoonjin has a close friend named Mo Yua and they become friends because they are from the same working class. And Yua has been a great support to her so that she can belong to her school surroundings. Yoonjin didn't get a good score in mathematics, unlike Chang, who got an excellent grade. She had difficulty understanding mathematics, so she wanted to go to the bathroom with a book in her hand. Behind her was Chang, who wondered about the secret of the book she was hiding. He thought her going to the bathroom was just an excuse to cheat, so he stole the book from her and dropped her sanitary pad from it. Then she left the class immediately, very embarrassed. Chang was feeling guilty and sorry for insulting her. He tried to fix the situation the next day, but she ignored him after several unsuccessful attempts to please her. In the end, he threw the book on her table, and after she opened the book, she found it containing all the math answers that she was unable to answer, along with an explanation of the rules in detail. After class she was on the roof, so he suddenly came up to her and grabbed her ear. She didn't like the behavior and tried to leave, but he stopped her and told her he wanted to help her with math. She refused his offer at first, but she remembered that she had to prove to the professor her good grades, so she accepted his offer after careful thought. From there, they always meet on the roof of the building. After a while, she began to feel that company with him was enjoyable, despite his sometimes annoying behavior. In the end, she was able to prove her grades to the professor, and as soon as she passed the exam, she scored 85, making her happy. Chang was also happy for her. Since that time, their relationship has been getting stronger day by day, until she had to leave the school for a long time. So Chang remained lonely and miserable to leave her until the day he fell asleep in the lecture because he lost the desire to continue the lesson. He suddenly woke up to find someone in Yoonjin's seat. He was unhappy with any other student taking her seat, but it turned out to be Yua, a close friend of Yoonjin's. She told him that she had returned from her village and was now resting in her room. He ran out to her place of residence and approached the door and called her out loud. She opened the door and sadness overcame her features. He asked her why she left for so long, but she did not answer his question, and in her right hand was a black ribbon suggesting her father's death. They were then able to reach the last period of the school year, where everyone attended the graduation ceremony. Chang started watching her while she was sitting with her friend, so he approached her and asked her to dance with him at his farewell party. Then they moved to a place near the school and he expressed his love for her, so she kissed him. The kiss was a sign of her acceptance, but in reality it was just a farewell kiss to leave with tears in her eyes. In her heart, she knew that she was not worthy of his love because of the class difference between their families. A year later, she became a university student, and also a temporary worker on campus to support her tuition fees. There she meets a boy named Juan, and they become close and spend most of their time together, until the day Chang and his little sister came to campus. Chang and Yoonjin were acting strange because they had not seen each other for so long. Juan interrupts them and introduces himself as Yoonjin's lover, to which Chang replies that he is also her lover, but she tells them that he is only from two close friends of hers. Chang then takes them to a temple where they write their wishes on a piece of paper. After she wanted to see what Chang had written, he hurriedly covered his paper. Juan went with Chang's sister to buy a drink, but just as he was about to return, he saw Chang and Yoonjin having a very serious conversation. Suddenly, unexpectedly, Chang immediately kisses the girl with a little seriousness. So Juan saw it from a distance. Chang's sister comes to comfort him, but the relationship between Yoonjin and Juan is strained and they don't welcome each other, even though they work together in the library. Because of this, she went to Chang to vent her anger. He told her that he suffered a lot after his graduation because it was hard to find her. He also thought that when she kissed him at the graduation ceremony, it meant that their love would last. At the end of her college years, she stopped working part-time, where her mother told her to return to the village to ask her permission to marry again. So Yunjin agreed to her mother's request. When she returned to the village, Chang was there. She saw him sitting near her house. He told her that he accompanied his mother who was working there, as it turned out that his mother had bought a factory in the area. They spent some time making rabbit lanterns, and later he invited her to live in Beijing after she graduated. She nodded, slowly assented. As she neared her graduation, she began sending job applications to many companies in Beijing in order to be close to Chang, but all her efforts were in vain, as no company in Beijing called her for an interview. Then she got a recommendation for a company located in Shanghai, to which she applied and was accepted. A few days later, Chang tells her that he has set up a company in Beijing and needs employees, but she tells him that she has got a job in Shanghai. So he gets angry with her. She felt guilty and decided to go to Beijing by train, but Chang called her and told her he was on his way in Shanghai to see her. So they agreed to meet on the way, and she got off at the next train station and waited for his arrival. And after he came, they started hugging each other. The two arrived in Beijing, so he decided to take her to buy shoes and dresses to attend his sister's engagement party in the evening. When Yunjin arrives at the party, she is shocked that Chang's sister's fiancé is Wan. During a conversation that took place between them, she advised him to take care of his future wife. Days after she returns to her routine at work, her stepfather comes to her office and tells her that her mother has been very ill. It also turns out that her father was working in a company owned by the Chang family, as her father had embezzled the company's money to cover her mother's medical expenses. That's why her stepfather asked her to help return the company's money. She calls her friends to borrow money, but unfortunately none of her friends can help her. So, with no other choice, she calls Wan for help, and he agrees to lend her the money. When Chang learns of her predicament, he comes to her apartment and gives her some money, but she refuses and tells him that she borrowed some money from Wan. Angrily, Hu asked her why she hadn't told him instead of someone else. Then he left her apartment and headed to Wan's house, where he threw the money he had brought in his face, telling him to just mind his own business. That night he went out to the pub with his friends to calm his nerves. Yunjin begged him to come home, but he refused, instead hugging another girl to make her jealous. Because of this problem, their relationship became strained again and they separated. He then went to America to meet his mother's request. Although a year has passed since he left, she has never been able to forget him. So she decided to go to the temple they used to go to, and she saw there the wish records of the visitors. So she searched through paper after paper until she recognized the handwriting of Chang, who wrote his wish that he wanted them to live together. She starts crying, remembering her past with Chang. She finally decided to leave for New York to catch up with her boyfriend. After her arrival, she began to ask people about the places until she arrived in front of a New York hotel, where she could see him from a close distance as he was walking towards his car. But when she was about to go to him, she saw a pregnant woman walking with him and got into the car with him. When she saw this, she couldn't help but cry and choose to walk away. When Chang's car started to move, he accidentally caught a glimpse of her and left wondering if this girl was Yunjin or just a girl who looked like her. He decided to get out of the car to go after her, but unfortunately he couldn't find her. Yunjin was standing on top of a school building and remembering the times they spent together. He grabbed her hair from behind after finding her and asked if someone was looking for him in New York. She was silent and did not want to respond. Therefore, he started showing a video clip from his phone showing her that this pregnant woman is an old friend of his and that her husband is one of his acquaintances. And when she saw them, he was only helping her. She started crying, so he hugged her.